Hi, Team Gogo. My name is Yasmin Rogers, and today we're going to be talking about all the things that I do to Icon here at eXp. It's going to be 3 years, June 1st, then with eXp, and I Icon 3 times. But first, before we start, I would like to share a little bit about me. I'm from Mexico, as you can hear my accent, and yeah, I had a degree in international business, and I was a stay-home mom for 12 years before I got my license. And on top of that, I just moved to Michigan 2 years prior I got my license. So I didn't really have college friends and childhood friends. So to be honest, I was not planning to do real estate full time, but it was a full-time job my first year. So, okay, I'm going to share this. As I mentioned it before, I Icon 3 times, and I have been with eXp for 3 years. And one of the things that I do all the time, even sometimes I don't really feel like doing it, or, or when especially when we are super busy, like when we have a lot of transactions going on and pending, and we're working with clients, we don't really feel and we don't really have time to prospect. But I tried, and I had that discipline I have to prospect all the time, because that way I don't have those ups and downs in the business. So for me, every single month I have a closing all the time. So prospecting is one of the things, and know your numbers. So I remember when I came to eXp, I was coming from a lower cap actually, and so it didn't really make sense, when I share. Then I was moving to eXp and I had the cap 12,000, and I'm coming to a $16,000 cap. It was like, it doesn't really make sense. Usually you move to save money, but there I didn't have the opportunity to earn those $12,000, back in. It's just like I paid and I never see a penny from that. And here I was like, okay, I'm gonna pay $16,000, but I have the opportunity to earn those back. So my first year, my goal number one was, I'm going to Icon. I want those $16,000 back. So first, know your numbers. And so first I was like, okay, what is my average price to know, how many transactions I needed to do to cap. And then, so for me, at that time, it was about 9 transactions. And then I was like, okay, so I need 9 transactions to cap and 20 more transactions to Icon. So that was, so first you need to know your numbers. First of all, so I knew at that time I needed 29 transactions. Then you have to identify your audience. So first of all, is you have to know who you are talking. And because when I'm prospecting, I know the type of client that I like to work with. Of course, I work with any clients, but I know my clients, or the majority of my clients. So I know my audience. I know what they like to hear. I know what their fears and stuff like that. So every time when I'm prospecting, when I'm posting, I use a lot of social media since the beginning of my career, because I wanted to be different. And since I didn't really have a sphere of influence, I needed to, that's why I use social media, because I was like, okay, it's free, and that's the way people will know my name. So know your strengths. 80-20. I focus on the 20% of the activities that give me 80% of the revenues. That's all I do. So what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses? So I identify exactly what I don't like to do, and it takes too much time to do. So for example, paperwork for me, I hate paperwork. And I was finding out then I will not do it during the day, because, usually we tend to just put it on the side, the things that we don't really like to do. And sometimes it will be like 11 o'clock and I'm like, oh, I didn't write that addendum. Why didn't, send this to the title company? And that will be me, writing emails super late. So those are the things that I delegate. The things that it doesn't really help me to grow my business, I delegate. So yeah, as I mentioned before, the paperwork, it took a lot of time and drained me. I hate it. I still don't like it. So that's one of the things that I delegate. So prospecting for me is an everyday activity all the time. And when I say every day, it's every day. It's Monday through Sunday, every single day, even those days that I don't feel like it, or even when I'm on vacation, I'm prospecting. Nurturing, get to know your clients, get to know their pains, their fears. For example, for me, I found out that the lack of information is their pain, their credit score, because a lot of my clients, they moved here from Mexico. So I get to know my clients. So that way, when I'm prospecting or when I'm marketing or when I am posting and doing videos, I'm solving problems. So I say pains and fears. So I focus on that, resolve, how can I solve the problems, the fears, and that's what I talk. So every post, every video, then I actually record, it's about that. So you need to know your clients. You need to know what they are, what are the values, what they like, what do they like to do. So that way you can talk to them and they can hear. So when you are talking to them, they can hear, and there is that connection because you are actually talking their language. Interest and events. What did I have here for interest and events? So what are their interests are? Like for my clients, is the American dream. We have this culture in Mexico, then we don't like to pay rent. We don't. We have this belief that paying rent is pretty much putting your money in the garbage. So I talk about that. I make a big deal when they buy a house, because, and I call it American dream. And what are the values? Family hardworking recognition. So I always celebrate when they can buy a house or when they purchase a home or a second home. I celebrate, and I always recognize that, like, it takes a lot of work. And I'm not saying that for people then they were born here, it's not a lot of work to, or it's a big accomplish to buy a house. But I feel like when we come to a different country and we're starting pretty much from zero in a talking a different language and interacting with different people, it's a big accomplishment. So I celebrate big with them. And another thing is I always ask them, like, what do they like to do when they are not working? So that way, when I want to invite them, or when I, somewhere, or when I'm gonna do a closing gift or something, is very personalized. So I know if my clients, they don't drink, I'm not going to give them a bottle of wine at the closing table. You know what I'm saying? So that's why for me it's very important to get to know my clients. And a lot of my business, yes, it comes from social media, but a lot of my business are coming from referrals. And the next one is going to be the follow-up. Make it personal. So I do, and I know it takes a lot of time. Yes, it does. It takes a lot of time to personalize things, but I think we like that. We like to, when we receive something that is personal. So I do post or the cards, when I send cards, birthday cards, I always personalize, like, hey, Yasmin, happy birthday. If I, like, yes, personalize birthdays. I send cards on holidays too. So I have my clients on Facebook, on social media. So when I see then if somebody they had a family are having a baby, when they have a baby, I send a card, I congratulate them, and I personalize. If they share their name, I send that card with the baby's name. So be present where they are. If you really know your clients, you will find out what do they like to do. So my clients, since a lot of my clients, they don't have family here, so the friends, we always said, our friends are the family we choose. So they like to get together with friends and do things together with friends. So they like to go to events. So the Mexican community, we have a lot of events, like Christmas events, like Easter events. So I like to attend to those events. And it's so nice because I see clients that probably haven't seen them in 3 years or 2 years. So it's really nice. Then you get to connect with them on a personal level. Be consistent with your social media and follow up and adjust. So what I do is, like I mentioned it before, be consistent. I try to post every single week in content. A lot of times I know, like, okay, I have to do a video with content. A lot of times, like I mentioned before, and we get so busy, we have so many transactions, and I'm not going to lie, sometimes I don't have videos to post, but I post something. So when the business is a little bit slow, I tend to do and record a lot of content, so that way when times are super busy, when I'm super busy, I have content to post. So that consistency is key. And follow up and adjust. So I do every 3 months, and that's something I have been doing all the time since day one. I like to track to see. I don't like to waste time. I don't like to do things then it doesn't really work. So I got in that habit to check every 3 months. I track everything. When a client calls me, the first thing I ask is, how do you find me? How do you know about me? And so then I know what is working and what is not working. When I do events, when I host events, or when I sponsor events, I like to see too, okay, how many hours I spend in those events, how much money I spend, and what's the return. And then you can see, like, okay, this is working, this is not working, and you can adjust. Because a lot of times in this business, we're going to do things then it doesn't work all the time. And sometimes we're going to waste money, and sometimes, so it is important to track everything and know our numbers, so that way we can adjust. Now, of course, you have to be consistent, right? Let's not say like, well, I have been posting every single, I don't know, like I'm posting once a month, and then after 3 months, it's like, well, this is not really working. It can't be that way. I mean, if you're going to do something, you have to be consistent, so that way you can see if it's actually working or it's not working. And what is working, I repeat it. It's just all the time, because it's working. And what is not working, either I adjust it or eliminate. So if I remember, I can remember something, then I will say like, well, I'm doing this and it's not working. For example, events, for what do you need to do to buy a house? I remember I did this event 3 years ago, just before the shutdown. And it was a big event. I think I had like about 40 people, I think. It was good. The conversion was okay. I closed a few deals, and then after the shutdown, I did another event, and I had it was probably 6 people, so it was not the same result than 3 years ago or 2 years ago. So, and then I'm like, I track everything. Okay, what did I do to promote that event 2 years ago? Then I had so many people then came to this event, and what I didn't do. And usually if you track, you will find out like, well, I guess I didn't promote it. I guess I didn't boost it this time. Well, last time I promoted for a month and I did a Facebook Live every single week. And this time probably I just did one and I didn't boost it. So there you go. That's your results. And then, so I did it twice and I didn't have a lot of people. And I guess some people were kind of afraid to get together after all these COVID numbers. So right now I'm implementing, so I'm not eliminating that, I'm adjusting. So right now I say after 3 months, I check, okay, how many people we got in those two events and what's the conversion rate for that? And so far I just did it, I think it was last month. So it's hard to say that you're going to convert in such a short time, but I can see then the numbers, the people that came to this event, are not what I want. So I'm not eliminating that because I know the result, I had a good result 2 years ago. So I'm adjusting to how the market it is now or how the people are reacting right now. So maybe right now they don't really feel comfortable, or like they didn't really feel comfortable like 3 months ago about going to places with a lot of people. So right now I'm adjusting a little bit and I'm like, okay, so I'm going to do it online. So we will see. This is going to be the first time I'm going to have another event, like a webinar in June, and it's going to be online. So that way I can compare, and I can, in 3 months, or after I do 2 events, online events, I'm going to check and I'm going to see, okay, what if it's worth, to do it again, or what is the conversion, or how can I adjust it to have the results that I want. So yeah, so pretty much it sounds pretty simple. I'm not doing anything extraordinary, I think, but for sure it's giving me the result that I always put, the goals every single year, which is icon, and I'm very excited. I'm very happy, and I hope you guys find this information helpful. And let me know if you need anything. Reach out to me, and I'm more than happy to help you and share how I'm doing some of the stuff if you are interested to know more. Thank you so much, and have a super successful 2022. Bye.